Good evening. This is Let's Talk with Jerry and Carol Mcintosh. Um, as you know, that virus is still out there. Hopefully, everybody is doing well, and all of your family members and all are doing just great. Hopefully, but we know that this virus is raging out here now, and so that means that we still got to protect ourselves. And I know we're gonna say some words on the vaccine, but Carol is kind of real skeptical of the vaccine. I'm a little bit more believe in science. I know what you do too, but I believe that with the technology that we have today, that the vaccine is pretty safe. I believe. I could be wrong.
This is someone's won't even take the flu shot. So you believe the vaccine is safe. Before we really get into the show, Jerry, if you don't mind, again, you're at Let's Talk with Jerry and Carol Mcintosh. This is Jerry, and I'm Carol. And we're so glad to have y'all, and hopefully you all can view us. Would you save, post, and share this show? That would be very important.
Yeah.
And let's talk. You call in if you have any questions. Call in to 850-206-3776. If you just want to talk, I always tell you that's what this program is all about, just sitting down. And that's one reason why we have the background that we have, because we want to just relax and just let you know that it's just us talking to you all, just like we're out somewhere having cocktails and sitting down, enjoying a nice day. But we're talking about issues that are affecting us every day, and we're talking about things that we can do, solutions that we can come up with to empower the community.
Serious solutions, serious issues too. This virus is really, really raging. We're looking at us 312,000 people. That's enormous amount of people. And they're saying before this vaccine is out to the populace or the public, this could be close to, 500,000 or close to 1 million people. And all this could have been prevented. We were just reading about what they did to push herd immunity, that caused this issue. And when they first had about 15 people that they found out that was had the virus, they could have did something then. They could have, the government could have used the Defense Protection Act to start, because they knew how dangerous it was. China had already warned us about the danger of this virus. And now we find out that these people deliberately pushed this herd immunity, which causing all these deaths. And that's why I continue to say, and I've been saying it from the beginning, somebody need to be held responsible. Somebody need to be held, need to be put on trial for crimes against humanity, because this didn't have to be. I mean, they explicitly said that we need to infect the children.
Yes, they did.
So we could, and we have it here. What they were saying about this.
Well, what was that report that you had me pull up for you?
The Congress House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Crisis. When you look at it, says this guy, Dr. Atlas, who was a radiologist that did, people that do, that have chick with radiation and all that, has repeatedly called for the United States to pursue a herd immunity strategy. In July 2020, he stated, when young, healthy people get infected, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
because that's exactly the way that population immune develops.
Mhm.
He told Fox News that preventing young people from getting infected is merely prolonging the problem because you are preventing population immunity. Dr. Atlas reported has espoused similar bogus claims during internal White House meeting. So they would, I mean, when you read this whole thing, which we're not going to do,
Mhm.
but you can go up on the website and go to the Congress of the United States, Congress of the United States. It tells you about this. Went to James Claiborne website one
Mhm.
here and
Mhm.
pulled it down. Um, it's just atrocious of the that any of us, not knowing that people was willingly
Mhm.
to, kill you off. In other words, survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yes.
know.
Well, I
Mhm,
don't see why anybody,
mhm,
Jerry, is
mhm,
surprised at that
mhm,
because when you had this administration, when I said
mhm,
this administration,
mhm,
Trump, when you
mhm,
had him just saying openly, go out, you had even DeSantis open
mhm.
up Disney World, go to
Right.
the restaurants and all that.
Mhm.
They talked about herd immunity,
Right. Right.
and so no one should be afraid. I mean,
Mhm,
should be surprised,
mhm,
but it's just that to see it written down and to
mhm.
know exactly it was true when
A
when
planning
they said it
strategy.
was right. And so, but I'm not surprised at it.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the vaccine.
Mhm,
And if you have our
mhm,
Facebook Live page up, tell me if you think still after you've seen all the pictures, after
mhm,
you've seen of people
mhm,
getting a shot,
mhm,
after you've seen them, clapping and um, everybody's excited about it. Has that changed your stance any? Will that make you want to
mhm.
go out and get this vaccine? Now, Jerry, know I have a lot of questions in regards to it. He says he's gonna go out. I don't know. Are you gonna
I,
go out and get the vaccine when it's
I
time?
don't know. Well, when sometime in the future, I'm gonna wait and see a little bit what is the side effects from it. But I
Mhm.
do believe that because of the quality of scientists that's working on it, and the technology that we have in today's, it's not like years ago when we had to try to discover, and develop stuff that was hard to do with the advent of technology and the
Mhm.
speed of things that we
Mhm.
can do stuff. It don't take as long. Now that don't mean that they already telling you that just because you take the vaccine don't mean that you need to stop wearing
Wearing your
your
mask.
mask, because they still saying that it's because everybody's not going to have it, it's going to make you, it don't mean that you are immune from it.
Right. That's the key that I want everybody to know.
Mhm,
We're talking about that. Some people are
mhm,
making the vaccine
mhm,
make it seem as though once you take that
mhm,
vaccine, you
mhm.
don't have to worry about
Yeah.
COVID anymore, that you are immune from it.
Mhm,
And that's not the case.
mhm,
It just will slow down the progression. And
mhm.
then some people, if you have the COVID, you won't even know it, but you still can transmit it.
Yeah.
But if you look at the overall picture of the effects of the vaccine, and if you see that it can save lives, if you feel comfortable with it, then take it. But I don't think I'll feel comfortable until maybe when time for the all of us to
Mhm,
take it in April, May, after I've seen some of the effects on other people.
mhm,
Now, the other thing I'm worried about, Jerry, is that you've got Pfizer that they're giving out
mhm,
now, everything you take, even your vitamins have side effects, Jerry, if you take too much of it, or if you don't take this. So, you know, when they're just giving me, oh, it's just this little side effect here, you stay off of work for a day or two. Well, a lot of people can't stay off work for a day or two, first of all. And then, what I'm saying, you got Pfizer, now you got Moderna coming out.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm thinking, you know, they aren't going to put Moderna and Pfizer in the same location. So they're going to distribute Moderna in a certain area and Pfizer in a certain area. Then there's another vaccine coming out, Johnson and Johnson is
Right.
producing. So therefore, each one of those vaccines will have to be in their own area because they're not going to mix them because they're still doing research on these vaccines.
Right.
Um, so everybody needs to be looking at the results uh, of each one of the vaccines that's come out.
Right.
So that you'll know where to go. If I'm going to a location to get my vaccine and I want Pfizer, I need to know where they're giving out Pfizer.
Right.
And so for Moderna, if they're giving out Moderna in a certain area in area, then it might go with states. They might say Moderna in a certain state,
right.
Pfizer. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna. I mean, Moderna is saying that their vaccine is even better because they don't have to freeze it so low. So I mean, we don't know which one is going to be the better vaccine, but I imagine the same concept is being used in all of it. I imagine. I'm not totally sure, but I imagine that's probably the results of it. The way they're doing it, they're just saying one is don't have to be frozen as deeply as the other one.
Well, that means that they are not the same. They don't have the same chemical balance. There's something different about those vaccines. They're not the same vaccine.
No, they're not the same.
There's a difference. So whether or not that difference will affect your body in any way, I don't know. I mean, everybody's just trying to watch and see exactly what the results are going to be. But
getting through December, January, February, and March, they are saying it's going to really be the roughest time because they won't have a vaccine ready for the population,
right?
The masses of the population until somewhere around June and maybe even later in the year. So what you still gonna have to do, you can't let your guards down,
right?
Because this thing is raging now. And we can see is they had said that, and all the scientists been on target with what they said. They were saying that it was going to be 1,000 people dying a day. Then when the summer came, they saying after the summer it was going to be 2,000. Then they said after Thanksgiving it was going to be 3,000 because people was going to go and they were going to travel and they was going, they were going to be around people that was going to be spreading this stuff. Because you're not going to know who's asymptomatic.
Right.
And that's why they tried to get people not to travel during the Thanksgiving holiday.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And now Christmas.
Now Christmas, because so many people caught that virus and now the bodies are piling up all over the country. And it's just atrocious the way people are dying. That they are saying up to 5,000 people a day could possibly be dying every day. That's 25,000 people a week.
So
that would be dying. I have to do 7 days a week, which it ain't gonna be no pause in it. That's 35,000 people will die a day. A week if it stays on that trajectory.
Well, if anyone is looking at the show right now, I would like to know how you feel about this. I think eventually that I would say around maybe May or June or maybe even later than that, they're going to mandate that everyone is vaccinated. And I also think, because they're talking about it now, is that the businesses and your jobs and the corporations, in order for you to work, will require it. The school system will require you, if you're working in certain areas, to take that vaccine. It's going to be mandated. So you need to think about it now and kind of evaluate it and be observant and be aware of the vaccine. Eventually everyone is going to have to take it. They're trying to get to 70%, 70 to 75% is herd immunity. And if they don't get to that amount, then they cannot guarantee that the virus will go away because of the fact too many people have taken it.
And the thing about it, in the Black population, they're saying 1 in 5 people are dying from it, and so we have to be extra careful because of so many underlying issues. Whether it's whether we got lung problem, high blood pressure, heart problems, just diabetes, all of those things are just this thing latches on to this virus like it loves it, and it will kill you. And some healthy people who had no underlying issues that they knew of had been to doctors and got it clear, all clear, and health supposed to have been superb, and they are dropping like that because this virus can do stuff. I mean, can cause blood clots, and it goes straight to the heart of the brain and kill you.
So again, if by the time it gets to the average person, it's going to the healthcare providers first, and then it's going to the first responders, the nursing homes, and then to the elderly, 60, I think they said 60 and above, and then to the population. So I would say, and then what they said was that they didn't have enough because the healthcare workers, once they had about 400,000 healthcare workers, and they were only getting about 93,000 doses of the Pfizer, and so they might have to do the healthcare workers in 2 to 3 sessions, not just one, healthcare workers. So it's going to take a while.
And on top of that, what is it? Close to around 100 and some thousand healthcare workers. They're gonna have to do first. That I mean that those that most of that's gonna go to them off the bat because they are the one protecting the rest of us. So they have to.
They have to. And so I'm hoping everything goes well with them. Well, that's our rant on the coronavirus and the vaccine. We talk about it every show that we're on because it's what's going on. It's dealing with life and death. It's dealing with your family and your friends and your community. So we're going to continue to talk about it. But realizing that 312 million, thousand have died already.
It's over 17 million infected. That's what they know. That's people they got counted on record. But if 200 some thousand people were being tested positive a day, that let you know how many, that like they said. Everything they said, do it times 10. So those are scientific statistics there. When you look at it, that's how they measure politics and everything else. So that lets you know that there's over 170 million people that's infected in the country.
And there's one thing I want to say also too, that you have to realize that the FDA, there are 2 categories. There's the FDA that has emergency authorization the vaccines have had emergency authorization.
Right.
It has not been approved. And those are two different categories because approval takes about a year and a half to 2 years for the FDA to go through all the steps that it normally takes to approve a drug
Right.
or vaccine. Sometimes it takes 3 to 4 years. Approval, they don't just give out approvals right away, but they're saying it's so dire that this is emergency authorization. Listen to the wording that they're saying. But you decide. By no means, we're not telling you to not take it or to take it. We're just giving you our opinion, and you go from there. Now, I'm kind of what you call that?
OCD.
OCD. So my neck was crooked, and that's what's bugging me to death. So I'm backing over. So you see me pulling. But anyway, let's talk about Biden. You know, he's the president-elect.
Right.
But I'm having flashbacks of the Obama era when we heard the word bipartisan and bipartisanship, and we heard the word let's work with the Republican Party and everything they did before they did. We need to have both of parties coming together. I'm here. Why do I hear that every time it's a Democratic president? But I didn't hear that at all for the last 4 years when we had a Republican president. They couldn't care less if the Democrats was a part of it or not.
And
why do we have that all the time?
Right.
Why do we do it?
Right. And I guess, with them, what Biden is trying to do is win over some of the people that Trump done misled in this country by saying, he's trying to work across the aisle and, trying to bring other people together and all that. And, I understand what he's saying, but on the same token, I'm saying don't hold your breath. Don't allow the Republicans to get the upper hand on you like they did with President Obama when he worked so hard to try to work across the line, work across the aisle. And once that happened, it was like, you're not really going to fight me now because it's like you need me. But I think Joe Biden has some people that's going to be there to say, no, we don't need, there are some things going to have to be done by executive order. And that means that from day one, there are going to have to be some executive orders done. I know he said he was going to do something. That means that if they don't work with him, that means he's going to have to do those executive orders.
But Biden is coming off, and I'm just saying this, Biden is coming off as though he's not going to be what I call a bulldog. He's not going to be a person that stands up to the Republicans. And if the Republicans say no, or the Republicans don't want to work with him, that he does what he wants to do, what he knows is best for the people. And not say we're not going to do it. We're going to keep on trying to get the Republicans. That's what Obama did, which really got on my last nerve. And he said bipartisanship so much, I get tired of hearing it. I didn't hear Trump say one time that we have to work with the Democrat Party.
No.
And so therefore, I feel strongly about this. I don't want to hear all of this about bipartisanship.
Not all the time.
I don't want to hear about all these Republicans being on Biden's administration.
Right. Now that part they can keep.
Because all the media talked about for 4 years was Trump's base. Everything Trump did was for his base. And what I think is happening is that the Democrat Party need to talk about their base.
Yeah.
They need to say we're doing this for our base, just like
Mhm.
we heard those same words for 4 years.
Right.
The Democrat has to own up to their base, and they cannot shy away from the base. And their base is the African American community. And you know I'm telling the truth.
Which has not strayed away from
Which
the
they've not
Democrat
strayed.
Party.
But they don't, it's like they don't want to say it.
Right.
It's like they want to shy away. They want the African Americans, but then they want to shy away and not say what their base is. But Trump owned his base. He owned it. Everything the Republicans did, everything Trump did, it was, and the media said, oh, he's speaking to his base.
Yeah.
It's base this. It's like the other
70, the other 200, other 200 and some million people didn't count.
So are we going to do that? You know, I'm hoping this doesn't happen, but he's starting it already.
Right. Well, you know, I'm willing to give him a chance to prove that that's not the case, because he haven't taken office yet. Once he take office, maybe, you know, he might have he might still talk about it, but the thing about it, his action gonna prove out one way or the other what he can and what he will do and what he won't do. So I'm not saying that there are not any good Republicans, because there are some that would go with the administration because they would have to. But there are some that I wouldn't trust behind a broom straw, as my mom used to say, and that's a mighty small something to stand behind.
Well, what about Steve? I'm just gonna call out a Republican name that I think would be good. Steve Smith.
Steve Smith would be awesome.
I think he's awesome.
He's a former Republican that turned to Democrat now. But Steve Smith would be awesome because he would be that voice that could really help the Democrat Party. And what the Democrat Party really haven't had in the last few years is a strong voice, a powerful voice to speak to the ills of the country and to the betterment of the country, either way. And in whether it's in Congress or whether it's in the Senate, in the House or the Senate, because both of them are Congress. But the thing about it, Chuck Schumer it don't seem like a strong voice to me.
Right.
You know, Nancy Pelosi, she's a brilliant woman, but she don't have that strong voice, you know, to reach the people that need to be that she need to reach. You need some younger people that's in the leadership in Congress. And when Acosta said it, you know, they go crazy, but it's true. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's one thing to have people there with knowledge, but you got to have people that can articulate the will of that organization. And if you don't have that, then that's going to be the downfall. And people, you know, people going to go back in the house and not vote in 2022 and 2024. You cannot just push to the side all of these young people that then came into the Congress. You can't do that and not have any of them in leadership. Only thing they can do is sit on some board with you. No, some of them have to be in leadership. Some of them have to be that voice that reached the other group of people out there, especially the younger people. Alexandra Costo can do that.
Yeah, the squad. Do they have anybody from the squad?
Right. Ariana Presley, she can do that. Ilhan Omar, all of them got that leadership quality that can reach people that would not ordinarily be reached. And you got others that then came in. There's the lady Porter from California, who is a brilliant tactician as far as talking to people and interrogating people on the when they come before Congress on these subcommittees. So you need those people to be out front, not push them to the back and saying, oh, you know, you wait your turn. No, this ain't no time for waiting no turn. You know, when you talk about the Green New Deal, Alexandra Acosta, she been leading on that. She wasn't the one that discovered it, but she was the one that pushed it. You got Ariana Presley and all of these other people that have new ideas that coming with other ways of looking at this, reimagining how the Congress should work.
Right.
And they are being pushed to the side, and that's something I do not like.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, great man, but he's 78 years old. He's come from that old school of thought. You got Kamala Harris and a bunch of young people around him that probably going to help give him some other directions, but a lot of that stuff going to still be old school. And that's not good always. Some of it is good. All of it is not going to be good for the country because the younger people are looking for people that can appeal to them and their ideas and what, even if you can't get all of it done, at least they'll know that you tried, and that's what counts. And then you go out and tell them why you need to add more people to your organization or to your political arena so that you can get stuff done, whether it's in the Senate or in the House.
Yeah. We need to see younger faces. That we've got to hear younger voices, and that's so true. So you said once that when you were talking about the name call and stuff like that, this. Let me see. It says Joe Biden's deputy chief of staff used profanity to describe congressional Republicans. And, I don't use profanity, so I'm just going to say it and you be my voice.
Okay. I have used profanity to address them and will again.
And she called them a bunch of
effing. We'll just use
we'll just say F. You know what? That's what she called them, and boy, they were just having a fit, saying, "Oh, she cursed and all that." But then we saying
Marco Rubio and all of these other people, of all people that Trump done talked about.
How hypocritical can you be? Then we looked up at. I didn't have to look up. I did. Jerry knew it already. But some of the things that he said, and so. I found it says the cursing president. His is the profanity. He is the profanity president, full of four-letter denunciations of his enemies and earthly dismissals of allegations lodged against him. At rallies and in interviews on Twitter and formal speeches, he relishes the bad boy language of a shock jock. Just one more way of gleefully provoking the political establishment. It helps create the impression that he's saying what he thinks. Let's see. Donald Trump is the first president to make C-SPAN unsuitable viewing for children. The president used, I'm reading this, that's why I'm saying the president. The president used language that some may find offensive. C-SPAN had a disclaimer on there. This is the president of the United States.
Right.
And I remember so well when Obama was the president and I was in administration. I was the principal of the school. And Obama was going to say,
speak to the
children, just a couple of weeks after he became president. And you wouldn't believe it. Those people in that school, those parents came up, took their kids out of school.
White parents.
And
they were not black parents.
And also they took them they had a choice to take them out, not to bring them to school. They had a choice whether or not to send them to the cafeteria. It was like that. I never seen it. He was the president. They didn't. He couldn't say nothing to his children, to their children, and yet I bet you if they had the same thing, if Trump was going to speak and then someone speak to the children, even though he's called the profanity president, he curses all the time, they would have kept their students there.
Right.
But they were just it was just amazing. But that just came to my mind. But the hypocrisy of all of this. But let's see, he said he called Beto O'Rourke a what?
Mm.
Uh,
Poor, poor, uh, I hate to just use it like poor
they,
bastards,
but he's used it
Yeah,
on
he's used on
TV.
TV, right?
You even hated to say it, but
Yeah,
this is the
yeah,
president. I'm
yeah,
telling you,
hmm,
these are words that he said.
yeah,
He retweeted a video of a UFC fighter calling him a bad
mhm,
MF.
right.
He called Governor Matt Bevin
Hmm.
a pain in the A.
Yeah,
He said he went around grabbing women's,
by the
what?
private part.
He called uh, uh, African countries and other
Asshole
countries.
countries,
I mean, and you're going to,
football players, moms, SOBs.
yeah, I mean,
So,
this is just a few. At his
right.
rallies, they say he cursed like a sailor
Yeah.
at his rallies.
Hmm.
And what was the Republican Party? Did they
Right.
say anything
They
about
not they
that
said
then?
one word. They haven't said a word.
And now when it's Democrats, when the
Mm.
Democrats say one foul word,
Right.
like somebody said on one of the commentators said that, then all the Republicans are clutching
Yeah,
their
pearl.
pearls
They pearl.
and ooh wee.
Wow.
Come on now.
Yeah.
How hypocritical can you be?
And on top of that, not only did he curse and talk about everybody, the same people that he talked about, like Marco Rubio,
Mhm.
call him little Marco, and talked about him like a dog. And he the first one out there running talking about somebody said something, a curse word. Ted Cruz, he talked about not only him but his wife and how she looked and everything else, and then said his daddy was a part of killing Kennedy. So
Well, they showed one where one of the women that Biden is going to have on his cabinet,
yeah,
she said something about the
mm,
Senate,
yeah,
and they wanted to.
oh yeah, they don't want
They
to
don't want to
confirm
confirm her. Oh, she
her.
talked about this, but then
Yeah,
they showed all the things that Trump said.
Yeah, and all these other people that have said all kinds of stuff.
About the same one. He talked about, like he was saying, Rubio. He talked about Ted Cruz. He talked about John McCain.
Yeah,
He talked about
all of them. I mean,
the soldiers.
yeah.
And you're gonna say you don't want to approve her because she said something about a senator?
Yeah, like they just, I guess that's, it shows
How hypocritical
just how
they are.
not only hypocritical, but how cowardly they are, because they couldn't say anything when Trump talked about them like a dog. They didn't say anything. They were not no men. There were not no men. There is no way that another man gonna talk about my wife in front of my face, and I don't go talk about his, and we might get to fighting or something, But I'm just saying. But that's that, because if you say something about mine, you definitely better look out, because it's just not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Not to my face. You're not. And every time I see you, I'm gonna let you know that how I feel about it. You're not gonna happen.
They are so hypocritical. Call in and talk with us. 850-206-3776. If there's something that we are not talking about and you want us to discuss tonight, just let us know. You can go on Facebook Live and type it in, and we'll read it. We'll discuss it. It's just what's going on. Stimulus checks.
Yeah.
Instead of 1,200, you might get 600. They're saying 6 to 7. It's more likely you're gonna get $600 check. But the thing about it, you might not get those checks. They're not. Don't expect it before Christmas.
Right.
It's not like they're gonna approve it and then the checks are gonna start coming out. You're gonna have before the new year. It might not be until the end of January or February before you get.
That's if they pass it.
They're saying most likely they're gonna pass it.
Yeah.
Because they want to. They don't want to leave without passing the stimulus package because of the fact that
I don't trust that demon Mitch McConnell nowhere.
Yeah. So I think that they don't want to go out like that.
Mitch McConnell, like I said, the only reason he's still in D.C. is because he's trying to help secure those seats in Georgia, the Senate seats. That's the only reason he's doing anything. He cares nothing about the American people. They, you know, he held up this package for 8 months. Now, you think about it, Canada give their people like $2,000 a month, every month.
Yeah.
You know, Norway, all of them, they give, some of them give up to, they give all this money, $2,000-3,000 a month. Germany, France, all of these countries, Italy, they are paying their people and giving them a stimulus package every month because they know who the money belongs to. It don't belong to them. It belongs to the people. And that's what people fail to understand. It is not their money. They are representatives of the government, which is us. It is our money that they take from us every time you go to the store, every time you get your check or paycheck or whatever it might be, whether it's Social Security or whatever, they taking taxes out. That money is supposed to be put aside in times of crisis. They supposed to send that money back to the American people. And that's something the American people got to understand, that that is not Mitch McConnell's money. It's not Trump's money. It's not any of those people that's sitting there that we elected to govern. They work for us and not the other way around. But people have failed to realize that.
But Trump is going to send those checks out before he leaves off because he wants them to say Trump gave us his money, because he now have them his signature on the checks.
Yeah.
It's like it's his money that he's sending out. And so I think he's going to want that before he actually leaves office. But with that, there are two things that they were fighting. Now, the Democrats wanted state and local aid to come. And that was taken out of the one we talked about last week.
Right.
The package that they had, but it's totally changed. Now, it took the state for the local state and local aid out, and then that was what the Democrats wanted. And then they also took away the liability for legal action against businesses. They took that out of the package, but that was the holdup, and that was what the fight was about.
Yeah, that's what Mitch McConnell was trying to protect. All his big business partners, not the little business, not the small business, but big corporations that he do business with. So that's why I say, you know, he don't care anything about those people. His state, the people in his state are suffering more than just about any state in the country besides Mississippi, Arkansas, different places like that. He don't care nothing, and he know that as long as he's there, and long as he is pushing white supremacy over policies, over healthcare, over a minimum wage, a livable wage, I would say, over a moratorium on rent and mortgage, where people can live, infrastructure bills. They don't care anything about that, because you know they want to blame somebody other than the people that's blocking their progress, which is Mitch McConnell and those Republicans in the Senate. And we have to call them out, because they're the one. That care package and that heroes package all was done 8 months ago. 8 months ago. And $1,200 one time for $1,200 for one time is supposed to last you 8 months.
Right.
You know.
Really, 9 months. Right. That's all. And then another $600.
Yeah.
And that's from March until December. What's going to happen, Jared? December. Now, some of it's going to happen right after Christmas, and then others will happen on December 31st. If the package is approved, or if it's not approved, then we've talked about it before. All these things going to happen where people are going to be evicted from their homes. But what happens if they pass it like tomorrow? Will that help these people?
It'll help. It'll help maybe
Will
a few.
It go through?
If it goes through, I mean, it's got to take time. I don't know how they're gonna get it out in time. Really, maybe they can,
Is it?
but it's not going to help with people that's behind in their rent, behind in their mortgage. It's not going to help that, because that means you would have to give each one of those people up to $4,000 or $5,000
$600
each.
is not going to help.
$600 not going to do it. And I mean, even if you gave them $600 a week, that's only $2,000 a month. That means they already behind, you know, in their utilities, already behind in their mortgage or rent, already behind if they got a car note, because they need a car to get to work, especially if you're in most places in the South. There's if you're in the major cities, yeah, you got some transportation, public transportation. But if you in rural areas in small cities, they don't have mass transportation, and that covers enough time and space for people to get to work. So they have to have a car. It's almost like here, they got transportation, public transportation, but it don't, you have to walk 100 miles to get to it. So that's the kind of dilemma that they have. And then even at that, people have already been issued their eviction notice already.
Yeah, they've been issued, but it will not take effect until December 31st.
Yeah.
And then the landlords can begin action on like the next day. But what I'm saying is, if it's approved, once it's approved, does it take effect right then, or is there a process to go through so that? Well, I'm trying to say, will they December 31st, will it be in effect if they approve it tomorrow?
I don't know, because the government works slow.
So then how can they? That's
the government work real slow. Well, I would say the legislators work real slow.
But how can what I want to say? Okay, say we have property and we're renting out, and they said that you cannot evict someone during COVID. How do you recoup your monies? I mean, how does the landlord fare?
Right. That's going.
Or
that's what I'm saying. It's a double whammy. The dilemma.
Do they pay the government? Pay them to?
I don't think so.
Somebody know that. Will you let us know? Because if you own any property, and you could not
but
evict someone,
they told you that you still needed
Go ahead.
Yeah, they told you still needed to pay your bill. That wasn't gonna stop it from you being evicted if it came to eviction. So
keep talking.
So Jared, the thing about it, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to make sure that we can find that out maybe tomorrow. We can find that out whether it will or not. But the thing about it, it's gonna be just atrocious on people lives. Let me. We got an issue here. Let me grab this real quick. Put that in.
Yeah, we don't want to just go dark on you. All right, we're back. Yeah. We're kind of concerned there for a minute.
We was unplugged there.
But that's something that I would like to know if. I would get paid, because if I have a rental property and I get $500 or $600 a month, and in a lot of cases that $500 or $600 will go on my mortgage, help me pay my mortgage.
Right.
Then if I don't get my money, then what happens?
Well, you're right. And the average mortgage is, if you're in a major city, it's going to run you between $2,000 a month. If you're in California and places like that, it's up to $4,000 and $5,000 a month. And that's, people trying to catch up. They're not going to ever catch up. But the government, they put this moratorium on, but they didn't say that they were going to pay for it. They were not going to make sure that people have this money for their rent. And
Well, it's
that's
not
something,
even. It's
or
not
a
even
mortgage.
the money. If they're saying that you can't evict someone, so then that means that I'm not paying anything. You know, I'm
Right.
not paying my rent. Who's compensating the person
Exactly. That the mortgage is
that the
supposed to be
right,
going
right.
to,
Where
or the
who's
rent supposed to
the
be going to.
government should be doing that,
Yeah.
compensating that person because you can't tell me that I can't evict someone and yet you're not giving me the monies that
Hmm.
I'm supposed to have because that person's losing money. So
Right.
I need to
It's
find
a
out a little
it's
bit
a
about
it's
that.
a two-edged sword,
Mm-hmm.
and in that package they supposed to have something about um, rent and mortgage in there in that package. I believe that's what I read. And
It does,
mhm,
but my question still is, who does the government compensate
yeah, for
the
that back pay,
that back pay?
I don't know,
You know
and
that you're not
that's
receiving if you own property.
right. That's the dilemma,
Mm-hmm.
and so um, something has to be done. But the thing about it, if you put another 8 million or so people out on the streets, it's going to cost more than that for the country, because you're talking about putting people out with nowhere to go. The shelters are already full. People are already living in cars. People are already living on the streets. Millions of people go to bed hungry at
Yeah.
night. Millions of people don't have no place to sleep at night.
Mm-hmm.
They're sleeping on the street. Then you're talking about a worsening situation with, because most of those that are going to be on the street is going to be women and children. Now you're talking about the abuse of women, the abuse of children, traffickers going to be trying to snatch children. So it's a dangerous situation
Mm-hmm.
that America has put herself into,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't have to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't have to be that way, and that's the sad part about it, because we had leadership in this country that was no leadership,
Mm-hmm.
that's in derelict of duty, and those individuals don't need to get away with. I know Joe Biden and them was not talking about uh, prosecuting these people or putting them in jail, but if they don't do something,
Mm-hmm.
the next time around it's going to be
It's gonna
worse,
be worse.
because you ain't guaranteed to be there the next 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody even worse can get in there,
That's true.
because, like they say, we was 1 minute away from midnight, uh, from dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem we have. And under dictatorship, they don't have no safety net. All that is gobbled up by those who are in power.
Mm-hmm.
They get rid of safety nets and all of that. Social security and all that is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So uh,
So, what do you think about this? With the pandemic and with everybody staying in, um, we've talked about this before, the mental illness that's going to take place because of the fact that there are people at home alone, and there are all kind of situations where people already have illness and they're facing even more problems. Then you have domestic violence because now people are in the homes together for long periods of times, and when you put two or more people together, then you're gonna have situations
children and
with
all
the
of that.
children, right, and so
Yeah.
domestic violence. We haven't looked at that. Probably is
Yeah,
on the
it's on the
rise.
rise. It's on the rise. I read a report on that that's on the rise. Abuse of children is on the
Mm-hmm,
rise,
mm-hmm,
because parents are going through a lot of
mm-hmm.
changes. The children are going through changes, so it's on the rise, and something has to be done.
So, do you think there's going to be more babies after coronavirus or more divorces?
I don't know. That's people. I think people kind of staying at home now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Divorces, because you stand around someone a long
Mm-mm.
period of time,
Yeah.
you have to like being around
Yeah.
your mate.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing about Jerry and I. But we have different rooms and all that stuff. And we're blessed to have space
Mhm.
in the house, because we're not with each other constantly.
Yeah.
But you
Or
were
but
blessed,
we busy all the
but we're
time.
busy
So.
all the time. We keep ourselves occupied.
Mhm.
Um, the idle mind is a devil's workshop. And so therefore, if you put two people together constantly and they're not doing anything, they're not doing anything productive,
Mhm.
then you have people that become bored with each other.
Right.
And again, you have
Life
divorce, you
become
have
boring.
domestic life. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
true. So you
Yeah.
have to make yourself
Yeah.
um,
You have to keep your mind busy. That's for
right,
sure.
and make yourself
Mhm.
productive citizens, and make yourself, if you do for others, if you have that mindset,
Yeah.
I believe in doing for others, and then crafting, find a hobby,
Mhm.
do something, don't just sit around. So I know they're going to talk a little bit about that and probably give us some statistics at the end of it,
Mhm.
what happened with the family environment and things like that. And was it a pop pro or was it a con?
Right.
Is there anything else that you? Oh, you know what?
Mhm.
The is it
Pay-go.
Pago?
Yeah.
Talk to him about
Oh
Pago.
yeah. Not, they want everything that Joe Biden to do to be paid for before before it become legislation.
Mm-hmm.
Now every time this has happened, it only happened in Democrats
When they had
administration.
right, when they had a problem.
You know, now under Republicans, they don't care nothing about national debt, none of that. Our national debt is at $27 trillion right now. When they took over, it was somewhere. When Trump took over, it was around 17 trillion. That he done ran it up another $10 trillion. But now they want to talk about the debt, and when in
Mm-hmm.
times when we need to move forward, you know, uh, you know, sponsor education, and meaning that you need to increase the value of monies that's going to education, to healthcare, to other necessities. Increase Social Security for the elderly who are living in strained conditions. Uh, Everything need to be increased over the years, so till we get out of this thing. That means that they're gonna have to have more money for safety net, food programs, all of that. You see the stress on the country. You got thousands of people in every city in line getting food because they are food insecure, they are home insecure, they are job insecure. So it's just the health insecure, just the whole conglomerate of things that need to be done. And now they want to put on what they call austerity, which means cutting everything rather than putting more money towards it when in
Mm-hmm.
time when you really need it in a crisis.
When I remember, they took money and found money
Yeah,
because Donald Trump wanted the wall to be painted black.
yeah.
They found money and
Took it from the Pentagon.
to paint the wall black. But now that there's a Democratic president,
Oh, we
then
got
it's pay go. We gotta
yeah,
watch the
yeah,
deficit.
the budgets have to be cut
Mm-hmm.
on everything. You're gonna find that you're gonna hear that every other day.
Mm-hmm.
The debt, because that's what they always talk about, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
trap
Mm-hmm.
President Obama fell
Fell
into.
into. Mm-hmm.
Was them forcing him to not uh, do as much as he could have done, even though he did enormous work while he was there. I don't want to undercut
Mm-hmm.
what he did, because all the things that he's done has not even been mentioned yet.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, we cannot allow the Republicans in these times of crisis
Mm-hmm.
and these times where people are in need, where you got mile long, tens of miles long uh, cars lined up for people getting food, and now everybody want to cut something, and some Democrats want to do
Mm-hmm.
that. They don't need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say you need younger people
Mm-hmm.
from the Democrat Party, like Alexandra Acosta,
Mm-hmm.
like Ariana Presley, like Ilhan Omar, and others, that the younger people that come in to the Congress, that are willing to fight for what we need rather than to capitulate to the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all I had as far as discussion. Do you have anything else that you think they should need? Let's look and see. Does anybody else have something they think we need to discuss or something that we need to look into? Just let us know.
Mhm.
Let's talk about it. You know, it won't hurt us.
Mhm.
It's always good to talk.
We're gonna try to, and I should have made that call today, but we're gonna try to get a doctor on who is working with this, is working in the virus community and dealing with the cultural aspects of it. So
We
um,
want to do that for the
for
next Our Voices show
yeah,
coming up
yeah,
this Sunday.
yeah,
Have a expert to
yeah.
kind of talk to you. So tune in for that because it's a time for you to ask questions
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes,
become more empowered.
if she's she have the time this Sunday, we're gonna try to have her on.
Hmm.
Um, Even if we don't, we still gonna talk about that virus because it's raging. So
But
we
but
because we want people to get acclimated to
mhm.
protecting
But
themselves.
we do need someone, if you know of anyone that really that is in the field, that is an expert and can talk to us, especially the African American community, in regards to some
Mm-hmm.
back end information that will help African Americans become more empowered and make a decision on what they should do. Uh,
Yeah,
email me, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Hit us up here on Facebook and let us
Hmm.
know. You know, if there's somebody out there that can talk to us from an
Hmm.
expert
Expert. Hmm.
position on
Hmm.
this virus, preferably if a doctor, a scientist,
Hmm.
virologist, or whatever.
We'd love to have them.
We would love to have them on to talk about this because it's so serious out there now, and and I know, because people are so afraid, especially Black people, and with good reason, about taking this vaccine.
Hmm.
Um, you know, we know from what they have done through zip codes and all of that by poisoning us from whether it was in the cotton fields of Arkansas and the Carolinas and all of that, even into the major cities, all the things that have been done and still being done. Um, they took a survey. I was reading this today.
Hmm.
Took a survey, said they these are people that are supposed to be going into the medical field.
Hmm.
This guy was talking about it and said they thought Black people's skin was thicker than whites because they thought we don't suffer the pain and all of that as much as
It's
others.
right.
You know,
Your pain,
you
pain threshold
yeah, it's
is
much
much
higher.
higher.
I'm like,
Hmm.
and that's it. That I think that survey was done either last year or year before
Hmm.
last.
Hmm.
And that was the first time I had read it. It was
Hmm.
funny when I was reading it, but it's
Hmm.
not funny
Hmm.
because it shows you the racism that's still in the medical field and how people have written us off as somebody don't suffer from pain as much as others if we got the same conditions.
Hmm.
So
Well, before we go, Jared, talk a little bit about the race in Georgia. We cannot leave
oh
without
yeah,
talking about that race in Georgia.
if anybody in Georgia and what's going on there, the Senate race, that is so important. As I tell everybody, if you got $1, $2, $3, $5, whatever you can send, if you got 100,000, you got people on the ground that's fighting there. You got Black Voters Matter. You got Fair Fight. You got other organizations that are on the ground. Then you got the candidates. If you can send them something to help with boots on the ground there, because what it's going to take is turnout. And I know that they are spending a lot of money on the air wars there from the Republican side to reach hundreds of thousands of people. But by the same token,
Hmm.
it's about turnout. It's about who can get people there on the ground
So,
to
so
get
how
there.
so how is this affecting? I want everybody to know how the Georgia race is going to affect the Biden campaign
Well,
or the Biden administration.
Well, what it is not only going to affect the Biden administration, it's going to affect the whole country and the world,
Mm-hmm.
because legislation will be much easier to come out of the Congress, through out of the Senate, out of
Mm-hmm.
the, they can get legislation out of the House, but it's much harder if they don't have people in the Senate. The Senate is where the power lies, really, and if you can't get things through the Senate and onto the president's desk, it don't become legislation, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what's so important. You got to have somebody there that can get legislation through, and make no mistake about it. There are things that we got to have people there at the table pushing certain legislation. We got to have people there pushing Voting Rights Act. That is so important. We got to have people there pushing the health care. That's legislation that has to be done. Infrastructure bill. The infrastructure of this country is about to fall
It sure
apart.
is.
Roads and bridges.
Mm-hmm.
The water systems, sewer systems in these major cities. Whether it's in Arkansas, Alabama, wherever you might be, here in Florida, we have infrastructure problems. Bridges are tumbling in certain places around the country, small as they may be, but they still are no good. And then there are some that only thing they're doing is repairing them, when we should, there was never a time before that an infrastructure bill then passed out of the House and the Senate, because all of the states got a portion of that to
Mm-hmm.
get the, to fix bridges and dams and all of that. People don't even know what infrastructure bill contain. That means your all of your broadband and all of that would be a part of that infrastructure, meaning jobs creation, up to 5 million jobs around the country. So that would help the country tremendously. And
Mm-hmm.
then the person that's going to transportation, we need to expand transportation, meaning high speed rails and all of that, and need to be done to get people across the country. Like, say for instance, here in Florida, when a hurricane comes, if you got high speed rails that can get people from one end of the country to the one end of the state to the other one, or to in another state,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to release some of the pressure on the road, where people are sitting out in cars for hours and running out of gas and causing the traffic to tie up when people have to leave. So that's
So
just some of the
some of
things.
the things. So
Mhm.
that means that it's important overall, because if they don't win those two Senate races, then Mitch McConnell will still stay in charge.
Right, and he
Um,
would block everything just like
right.
he did in President Obama's
Mm-hmm.
administration.
Basically, that's what we're saying,
Hmm.
and that if we do win the two Senate seats, then how does that put? Where does that put the Vice President Kamala?
She would be the tiebreaker. As a matter of fact, she would be president of the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 50-50, Chuck Schumer would be in
Mm-hmm.
charge of the Senate. Will determine what goes on the floor and what does not, and that's the problem. Uh, I see. It should not be that one man can hold up a whole country.
Mm-hmm.
That should not be, and that's
Right.
that's one person in the Senate can shut down the whole country from passing bills and legislation out of both and can shut down the House and the presidency. And
Mm-hmm.
that means that everything that passed in the presidential office has to be through executive order, which can be overturned at any time when the next president come into power.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's not into legislation, it's not really that great. But that's what Obama had to do. He had to do everything through executive order. Trump came in, overturned all his executive orders.
That's the weakness of executive
And that's the
orders,
weakness.
but it's also the power. So
Yeah.
it's like the pro and the con.
Yeah, but if that's what I always say. The third term of the next
Mm-hmm.
president
Mm-hmm.
is that maybe the vice president or whoever the next Democrat or Republican may be.
Mm-hmm.
So that person get a third term if somebody come in under him that can hold up those executive orders until they get it into legislation.
Mm-hmm.
But that's that's the meat of the problem. If we don't have those Senate seats, um, we right back where we were with Trump. Only thing about it, I think that you would have a more fighting team because of the young people that's going in with Joe Biden, even though at the policy level, some of the people at the top of the policy level is, they are old gods, but they got a lot of young people underneath them. And so they got them young people going to have a lot of influences, a lot of influence because they're not going to just sit back and not do anything or allow just anything to come to them.
Well, what I would like to have is a show on with some young people on to talk about what they would like to see in a Biden administration, because I think their viewpoint is a little different than an older generational viewpoint is. And I think we need to hear from them. So again, that's a show of interest that we'll be doing in the first of the year. Also, I think we need to have a show on 5G because there are some pros and cons and some concerns in regards to
a lot of concerns
to 5G and where those poles are and how it will affect your health. So we're going to start on community conversations, kind of talking more about things like that, how things that are going to affect the community, your family, your children, the environment, and things like that, the educational system in your community. And some of the things we'll talk about is not so much, it's just in Pensacola, but you can help call in and from Detroit and Arkansas and from Atlanta, from all the other states and cities, because it helps. So we can learn something from you all.
Right.
So let's talk. We're going to end this show tonight. It's been fun, Jerry, just talking about issues that are concerning us. Tune in for community conversations. Is it community? Yeah. This Sunday. And hopefully we'll have a couple of experts on. If not, we're trying to find some experts that can give you all some real information and not an opinion, but maybe facts on what you should
virus,
do
right.
on the virus and the vaccine.
People who are experts in their fields on this stuff. So we can give you what we've studied and read and researched, but by the same token, there are people out there who are working in it. They know exactly, what's what. So we want you to be informed on everything. That's our goal, to inform and transform. That's what we do.
And a last thing I'm going to say is that we want you to be a part of it. If you want to be a part of community conversations, if you have something that you want to say, you can go farther than just Facebook Live. You can actually be on the show.
Right.
Just let us know that you want to make be on the show and actually let people view you and see you. And then you talk about, you make a contribution to the show. And don't be afraid, because we have a lot of our Facebook Live people that make comments, good comments.
Right.
But people need to know who you are. So if you're interested on being on community conversations as a guest host, please let us know. And if we think you have something to say, and your views don't have to agree with our views,
right?
Because that makes it interesting. You don't have to agree with us. Just if you have a strong opinion about different views. We're not going to be negative. We're not going to call out names and things like that, but just give us your opinion, give us your expertise. And I think that will lead to a show that's well versed.
Right.
What do you say, Jared?
We good with it.
Okay. With that, you all, thank you. That's the end of Let's Talk. We'll see you next Thursday, and we'll see you Sunday for community conversation. Good night.